YouTube, this is SKillous, and today we're gonna watch a game of potentially the best Protoss player in the world. Of course, MaxPax is not playing offline tournaments, but he's playing a lot of online tournaments, and I think in online tournaments there is pretty much no competition. You could probably argue that Hero is about the same as him in PvT and PvZ, but I do really believe that MaxPax is absolutely superior in PvP, so it kind of makes him a little bit higher than Hero, in my opinion, at least in online tournaments. But today we're actually watching a game of him against Spirit from last regionals of Europe. It's actually not that easy to find replays of MaxPax because most of the games he plays is online cups, and usually tournament organizers are not really publishing replays of those, so you have to eye in for big tournaments like regionals. But this match obviously gonna be very fun. Let's look at the openings. Very standard for MaxPax. To be honest, he is very consistent with his opening. Like this is pretty much all he does. He goes for a Cybernetic Score first, before Nexus, he goes for Double Adept Chrono, he goes for Twilight most of his games, and it proves to be a very successful build order for him. And actually, today, why I picked his build order, this replay, is because he played his probably the most signature PvT build order. I don't know, a lot of people still refer to single proxy gate as MaxPax build, but I really do believe that if you wanna look into a signature build order of MaxPax, it's gonna be Forget Blink. So the game starts relatively calm, right? Nothing really is happening. MaxPax scouted the CC on high ground. He realized that, okay, this is probably Marine Factory. He scouted with Adept, so a Cyclone. Very cool micro. Using these bushes to not lose Adept, but get some damage on the Cyclone. This is actually quite big, because now Tian has to go back home, and if he had any plans on attacking, he has to repair his Cyclone first. And in this kind of attacks, on pro level especially, it's super important to be as crisp as possible with your timings. You want to hit as fast as possible, but in this case it's not possible anymore because of this little move, right? So props to MaxPax for that. Third gas is on the way. We have 4 gateways on MaxPax side, and a Robo. A very normal build, nothing really special. And when the Robo is complete, we go for a Prism right away. As you could see, MaxPax is actually going for a lot of pylons right away. He makes sure he doesn't get supply blocked anywhere, and after that, his build order actually lines up perfectly. Now he has Stalkers. If you look at the economy, he has exactly 42 probes, so he has 3 gases, 2 mineral lines, and 1 probe is on the 3rd base for potentially taking his 3rd base. So now MaxPax is sending pretty much everything across the map except these 2 Stalkers. These 2 Stalkers are a safety measure in case if something comes across the map, so he will have to deal with that. Pay a close look how active MaxPax is with his units. He always tries to gain as much value as possible. If he has Adept, he's gonna shade it forward always. He will try to gain vision, at least. And if there is a damage he can do, he's gonna do that. Okay, now let's focus on what's happening here. So Cyclone drop, 2 Stalkers are doing a very good job at nice focus fire by MaxPax. He sees an exposed tank. He understands that, okay, even if there is 2 tanks, I will probably be able to kill it with 2 shots anyway. Adept didn't survive, but still lost 11 probes because at the same time Banshee came his way. I think this was a very good prepared build order by Spirit, because this is obviously a tournament match, so he had time to prepare and to figure out what can be good against MaxPax. And he realized that, okay, if I gonna have a good setup with Banshee and Medivac at the same time, so if I don't die at home, I will grant myself a good position. And if you look at the prop count, if Protoss is so close to Terran, it's never a good sign for him. We still keep trying to get value with Stalkers. This is what you always have to do. Doesn't even matter if you play 4-gate, if you play 3-gate. You always want to get some value with your Stalkers, because it makes life for Terran so much harder. Absolutely excellent micro. Not losing a single Stalker, but killing a handful of Marines. Yeah, situation with props is still not optimal whatsoever, but the good point for MaxPax now is that he has a lot of Stalkers, so he can get some value over time. As long as he is not losing his Stalkers, he can get some value. Like, once again, a very good blink. He saw that there is like couple of tanks on the main base. He killed one, and there is another tank on the nut as well. So he was like, okay, there is a blind zone, and I will just kill some depots while the tank is repositioning. So now, if you look at the resource lost, 1200. Yes, economy wasn't that perfect all this time, but simply by getting this, by the way, very nice interception with observer. Okay, actually it got him baited, because there is still 2 bunches on the map. Another cool trick that MaxPax really likes to use is 4 Stalkers in a prism. 4 Stalkers, it's right enough to one-shot an SCV. So what you can do, you can unload 4 Stalkers, bleed into mineral economy, shift-click as many SCVs as possible, and put them back into the prism. This is usually a very cool trick that MaxPax uses. Stalker count is at 22, which is a lot, but this is exactly what grants MaxPax so much map control right now and gives him a lot of tools, I guess, to deal with everything that Spiritist throws at him. One thing that I didn't manage to mention because the game was so active is that usually when you go for a 4-gate blink, there is one thing that you really have to know. You have to know that you need 11 Stalkers to one-shot tank and 6 Stalkers to 2-shot tank. So you should always calculate in your head how you're gonna use your Stalkers with this idea in mind. If you see a tank, you have 5 Stalkers, you can't 2-shot it, so you need 3 shots. This is much worse than having 6 Stalkers or 7 or 8 Stalkers, but with 10 Stalkers it's better to wait for 11 Stalkers so you can one-shot the tank. So this is also a very useful trick for the moment when you start playing and practicing this build. At the same time, MaxPax is going for 4-gas Colossus, a very, I would say, a very normal setup in this game. Still being active with his Stalkers. Yeah, now Stalker harassment probably won't be as efficient as it used to be, so now he just loads 4 Zealots into his prism, and pay a close look how active he is, not only with his units but with prism in particular. It, like, since minute 5 he's always going in, uses it to help his blink Stalkers. When he can't do that, he loads 4 Stalkers in so he can kill some SCVs. After that is not an option anymore, he loads 4 Zealots in so he can once again get some value over it. Now, after he got his first Colossus, he understands, okay, I have Stalkers, I have Prism, I have a lot of tools, and first Colossus is actually a very big power spike for Protoss because Colossus gets a lot of value. Probably there won't be Vikings, right? So it's usually very efficient to attack or like take engagement fight on the map somewhere when you have your first Colossus. So this is exactly what MaxPax is doing. He's very well aware of his power spikes. Simultaneously, there is a couple of counterattacks. I really like how Spirit is playing this game, actually. I think he is kind of playing into his opponent a lot. I mean, he does do that. He understands that MaxPax is very active. He always gonna be in his head. He will never camp like some other Protoss do. Like, for example, if you watch stats. By the way, there is a stats video that you can watch. Where stats is very passive and he doesn't do many moves. But MaxPax is the complete opposite. He's always in your face. So it makes sense to counterattack him while he's doing that. Meanwhile, MaxPax took his 4th base in the middle of the map. There is a rich gas, so he decides to go for a Templar Archives. Well, the math is very easy, right? You get 1 gas for you get 2 gas for a price of 1, like in the store. And because of that, getting Archons is like a good value, right? I guess that's pretty much the reason why he does that. Stalker keep poking. This push actually looks quite annoying, but once again, another prism. I believe this prism got recalled, so once again, it's back in business. Yes, Spirit is slow pushing him with tanks at this point, but MaxPax still creates chaos on another part of the map with his Vara Prism. I think this is what makes MaxPax great in this matchup. That his constant activeness on the map and that he always uses his units as good as possible. I really like how patient he is right now. He understands, okay, this is a very nasty position. There are a lot of Colossus, a lot of Vikings, so I don't want to defend this base. You saw this like a small peek that he did. He saw, okay, Marauders, some Marines are coming back, so this is probably the golden opportunity for me to pounce on this tank army that probably has not enough protection. Actually, a very nice play by Spirit. He realizes that. He understands, okay, I can't stay here anymore because I had to pull back for this prism. And now MaxPax regained his map control on the map again. Beautifully positioned observer. I mean, it's a bit greedy, but as long as it's not getting caught, I guess it's a good observer, right? Prism unfortunately died. Very nice Viking positioning. But once again, this observer showed MaxPax exactly when Terran's army is, because he was so keen on protecting this planetary fortress before it goes up. So he focused all his forces there, and MaxPax realized, okay, if he's there, I see his observer, I'll just go and make his third lift. And as you can see, although he's now even on the bases, he could be playing 4 bases against 3 against Terran, which is never a good thing. Once again, nice bit of value, killing a couple of SCVs. And next tech of choice for MaxPax is Disruptors. He is a really big fan of this unit, and I can understand that, because when you're that fast, and when you play like this, when you try to make as many moves as possible, this is a very good tool, because StarCraft with Disruptors is kinda a game of attention, right? Because if Terran is looking, like, even if you're not talking about like very best Terrans, but like if Terran is looking, they're gonna be able to split against Disruptors. But if they're not looking, then they not gonna do that. It sounds obvious, but this is exactly what MaxPax is so good at. He is forcing a lot of attention out of his opponent, and he makes them look elsewhere when he wants, so he can hit good Disruptor shots. Prism died. Not a problem for MaxPax. He goes for another one, because this is his primary way of getting value and getting his opponent to spend attention elsewhere. As you can see, actually, at this point, this map becomes kinda hard for Protoss, because there is this sensor tower in the middle of the map that doesn't allow to do anything at all. So it's very hard to make good rotations. So if you paid a close look, he actually killed a sensor tower in the middle of the map because it was annoying him so much, and now he did it once again with a sensor tower on the third base. And to be honest, I can understand him, because really, if you wanna make any place on this map, it makes it so much harder if Terran has the base in the middle, right? Because they just see everything with the sensor tower, so makes it very hard to make moves. Now MaxPax sees that there is not enough units for Terran. Tanks are, I guess, in the middle of the map. Bio is very injured, so he once again forces a lift on this base. Meanwhile, a base in the middle of the map is also rebuilt. He sees a drop. Very fast reaction. There was no ghosts in the drop, so yeah, Terran couldn't even EMP, but probably wouldn't be possible anyway, even if he had ghosts, because the reaction time was quite good. Also, look at the zealots in the corners of the map. There is a zealot here, there is a zealot here. This is also a very important thing about pro-level PvT, is that once Terran takes a new base, they're the most vulnerable, right? Because they don't have a PF is there yet. So this is a point of vulnerability that you can use as a Protoss, and this is exactly what MaxPax is doing. He controls if there is a CC or not, and once there is a CC, he probably gonna either go there and try to prevent this from happening, although on this map it might be a bit tricky, but anyway, on any other map it would be different, or he would try to put some pressure on another part of the map, right? Because Terran would be dispositioned while trying to take the CC, and you can hit them in some other direction. Mining these minerals so he can have better access. I believe he did it after he saw that Medivacs moving the bottom. Actually, Spirit, although he saw a Zealot, he decided to still go. Raptors in the middle of the map. This drop might be a little bit annoying because it's in the middle of three bases at the same time, but look at the beautiful split. I don't know if you saw that or not. I'll pause a little bit. There is units here, but he was trying to get back with his Medivacs again. He was trying to do this, but MaxPax is just everywhere. He's ready everywhere, and at the same time, he's controlling the middle part of the map with his Disruptor force. To be honest, it was a bit dangerous, especially with Zelnagatar, but I guess that was kind of the trick, right? He was like, okay, I'm in the middle of the map, so you can try to do something across the map, but actually not, you can't, because I'm perfectly ready. A good attempt with the Observer. It's also very nice if you have this kind of Disruptor army in the middle of the map to put Observers in front of you, so Terran can't engage into you without being seen. Okay, Lips are on the field. Actually gets a little bit tricky, but at the same time, Terran is a little bit out of position, so MaxPax tries to dive on these Liberators. To be honest, not very successful attempt, because at this point there are so many units split for Protoss that it's very hard to fight the main army. At the same time, DT tech is done. There is no DT blink, but at the same time, look, these 6 DTs are streaming across the map. I guess MaxPax saw, yes, look, he saw that there is no turret, so actually it will be so hard for Spirit to deal with these DTs. So Spirit has to pull his ACVs back, and there is actually so many DTs, 6 DTs at the same time hitting Terran base, and you can't simply deal with it with your reinforcements. MaxPax understands that probably he pulled some army back, so he connects all his forces and jumps on this tank. He breaks this position, so now this is not an issue. The game becomes much easier for him because, because he doesn't have to care about that. The reinforcements manage to deal with this drop. There is a shield battery overcharge. At the same time, he tries to break the position in the middle of the map. Actually was unsuccessful, but at the same time, there are so many things happening on the map. Terran still can't take this base because of the Zealot. Here, okay, the cannon died. Here Terran is winning a little bit, but still, Terran lost his main army. He still has DTs that are dealing a lot of damage. Protoss decided to turn back. He actually didn't lose that many units. Could go much worse, right? And Terran still has to scan. I don't think he has that many orbitals, does he? He has, sorry, 3 orbitals. So yeah, not that many. It's not that easy to scan that many DTs, especially when Protoss is paying attention and he's blinking them away. And this is what MaxPax is so good. You see, Terran army shows up, right away he pays attention. Okay, maybe it wasn't the best save, but in another situation he could save that, and it would be so much harder for Spirit, right? Because he would have to still spend more attention on these units. Another attempt on breaking the base. I guess MaxPax just realized, okay, I probably did enough damage. Terran has nothing, so I can just win the game right here, right now. Because MaxPax's game sense is actually very, I don't know, can you say it's good? It's like, it's phenomenal. So this is exactly what he's doing. Put some army away from the PF so it's easier to kill. Uses Disruptor to zone out the bio. Zealot Stalker killed the PF, and Spirit taps out because, yeah, there is absolutely nothing he can do in this game. And absolutely perfect execution of PvT, especially on this hard map. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you next time. Bye bye!